Hey guys, welcome back to Ultimate S&S. So we're beginning a journey of how chickens came about and also showing you how to incubate your own chickens and raise your own chickens at your house, which should really lead to a more sustainable lifestyle. So I wanted to do a little research on when exactly did people start actually domesticating chickens. Well, you might not be surprised to know this, but chickens as we know them today is not how they were back when they first were domesticated. They were actually a type of a jungle fowl, look totally different than what we have today, but through selective breeding over generations, now we have all these different types of chicken varieties out there. And that's why sometimes you end up getting some really interesting color combinations, is because that recessive gene's still in there. But on the research aspect of things, they say they started noticing around 5400 BCE. That is a very long time ago, folks. But around 5400 BCE, we began consuming chickens, and it was found over in areas, provinces of China, where they were finding that they were being consumed but not so much domesticated at that time. It was somewhere around 3600 BCE to 2000 BCE. For those who don't know how timeline works, is it counts backward from a high number down to a zero when you're coming from BCE, and then it starts to count upward once you hit the AD point. So we're still talking somewhere around 4,500 years ago when they really started domesticating and breeding these jungle fowl into more of a modern type of a chicken entity type thing. So that should lay to rest what came first, the chicken or the egg. Well, neither one of them, apparently it was jungle fowl, and then through selective breeding we have our chickens that we have today. So, and that happened all over the world, but the earliest known civilizations were up in some of the older provinces of China, and then from there it ended up making its way down into Turkey and areas like that. So I thought that was some pretty interesting stuff. But on to a little bit more of what we want to know when we're looking at an egg. What are we looking at? So obviously a shell, and then what's going on inside. We crack them open, you got some egg white, and you got some white of some eggs. So we're going to show you a little bit more information. It's going to explain exactly what those areas of the eggs are called. Now, as you can also see, we went ahead and we showed you what the first couple of days of fertilization is going to look like. So yesterday we placed some eggs. These are different eggs. I got these out of the pen today. But we placed 3 eggs from 3 different variety chickens that have been bred with our black copper Morans. And what we're going to do is see what kind of color combinations we get, what kind of egg combinations. Are we going to get those nice chocolate eggs? Are they going to be changing colors? We'll just have to wait and see from those offspring. But whenever you start getting into this, you don't really see much within the first day. If it's a fertilized egg, the yolk begins to almost not really harden up, but it gets a little bit more of a structure to it. And then as the days progress on to about day 7, you start getting a lot of these veins that are running through, which is blood vessels and stuff that is building off of what they call a germinal disc. For what a germinal disc is, that is the semen from the rooster that is on there. So that is the fertilized part where the baby chick will actually develop off of that germinal disc area. That's where the point of impact, I guess, for the semen from the rooster is, guys. And that's where your bird's going to start to build. So as you do incubation on these eggs, I would highly recommend that you get something with an automatic turner. Otherwise, you're going to be in there turning these eggs 3 or 4 times a day. I actually recommend 5, but you're going to be losing a lot of your humidity and temperatures while you're doing that. When a chicken turns eggs, it just grabs it with its claw and it just rolls it underneath it. You don't really lose a lot of temperature, but if you're consistently going in an incubator every day to rotate eggs, you're going to lose temperature. It's going to be very hard to actually get a good hatch rate. We have pretty good hatch rates with these real cheap incubators we use. Cabonics is the name of it. But I've hatched I got countless quail with these already. So, but this is going to be the first time hatching chicken eggs with that. So we're going to see how it is. But as we go through this process, folks, we're going to look in. We have some diagrams that we've been able to find online. Just going to show you a little bit better what is actually happening inside the egg. So basically right now, day one, what we have is we just have a yolk. Again, we're going to post that little section of clip for you here, guys. And that's going to remain the same for about the first 4 days. You're going to really start to get some more veinage and stuff like that running through it. But you want to wait till around day 7 to day 10 before you go in and you candle your eggs. If you don't know what candling is, what that is where you will take a light source. We have a light that's actually built into our incubator, so we'll set this on top of it. It's a very bright LED, and you can actually see the development of the chick or the vessels and things like that. If you're seeing blood rings, whatever the situation is, and you can tell pretty quick, okay, this one is fertilized and it's developing. If you don't see that stuff by day 7, then you know that you didn't have a fertilized egg or something failed early on in the actual process of incubation. And then I typically, once I candle them on that time, I don't candle them again. You get some people that want to go every few days and candle their eggs. Unfortunately, I will not be doing a whole lot of video of it. There is actually a lot of great photos out there, so we'll show you that. The reason I don't take and spend a whole lot of time candling is because when you're removing your egg from your incubator, you're actually losing a lot of temperatures and stuff, and you can kill the chick that's developing inside. So if you're going to candle them, folks, do it very fast, very quick. Don't sit there and play around with the camera trying to get the right angles. We might show you some real quick videos of it, but we've done that with the quail in the past. And anytime you get to heavy candling, you start losing chicks. You don't want to do that, especially when you're looking at a sustainable food source for yourself, adding eggs or layers, you know, your meat birds and stuff like that. So, and these chickens here, these are going to be more of a free ranging type of deal. We're going to move them around with a chicken tractor and raise them wild basically, and turn them loose and let them kind of run around certain areas of the yard and see how it works out. Now, the chickens that I have out right now, they free range about an hour a day, between a half hour to an hour a day, just to go around the pen and pick, you know, little bugs and stuff like that. Then they go back into their coop. They don't free range a lot, mainly because of the predators. But when it comes to your chickens, it's probably one of the oldest forms of a sustainable food source in our history, folks. And that's why I really wanted to show a little bit more information on how to do this, because yes, it's great if you have a chick or a chicken that goes broody that can raise chicks, but a lot of that broodiness, they're trying to breed out of your chickens now, because when they go broody, they're not laying eggs, and they're being very aggressive. They're collecting all the eggs they can find, and they're tucking them under them because they want to hatch those eggs. It's kind of an instinct, a motherly instinct to go into. So they've tried to breed that out of them. So you really need incubators with certain breeds. There are some breeds that are a little more apt to go broody. So the black astrolorps, from what I have been reading, they are a broody type of a hen, so we'll have to wait and see if ours actually brood out or not. But in the meantime, we're actually going to take and focus on trying to hatch our own eggs in incubator, which should really add a little bit to our homesteading here. It should add more sustainability between that and the quail. Honestly, if right now, if every grocery store was to close, we have enough food source coming in from the quail and the chickens that we would still be sitting pretty comfortably. Yes, you would eventually get tired of eggs and eating the same stuff over and over, but you will have something to eat. And that is what this is about. You have a sustainable food source, and then you can add to that with your foraging of berries and different types of plants that are out there growing your gardens and stuff. Maybe you don't want to do a traditional garden and you just want to plant a lot of plants that produce fruit that you don't have to really mess with much, and you can forage off of those later. And that's a great idea too, but you still really need to keep up the weeds and stuff around them, or it can overtake them until they start to get a little bit larger. So I hope everyone's enjoyed the video. We're trying to add more content in on this because I think it's important that we understand that this isn't something new. This isn't just, hey, we're coming out doing chickens. This is one of the oldest forms of having a sustainable food source in our history, folks, that we have recorded. You know, people talk about keeping goats or keeping sheep and things like that. And while there were a lot of shepherds in those old days, when it comes down to it, some of the very first livestock that was actually kept and domesticated and put into breeding purposes was actually jungle fowl, which were bred into chickens. So hope everyone has a great day.